when I was like 14, this is probably pretty fucking frowned upon, so I'm sorry if anybody hears this that was affected by this, but I like made like a fake, like when I was like 14, like I'd be like, okay, I need like $2,000. Like I wanted to buy a go-kart, I think, and like I wanted to like race in the thing, and I ended up just like fucking the whole thing up in the river or something stupid. But I was like 14 or maybe a little older, like 14 or 15, and I was like, yeah, I need to buy one of these. So I made like a fake raffle and like,
No
way. Went like
that's fraud,
bro. Straight up. Went like door to door. I think honestly, if anybody sees this, they'll be like, all right, that's pretty player. Like that's like some real young entrepreneurial shit. Like I didn't know though. I was like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. I was like, I'll give away a prize. I'll fucking buy a prize to give away or something. But no, I did not. And I just went door to door, bro, hard selling motherfuckers. And they'd be like, yeah, I'll take like 4 tickets. Like I'll take like, so then I ended up like stacking a bag. Oh my God. When my mom found out, she was so pissed off. She was like, you're going back and you're giving everybody their money back. I was like, I have no idea who gave me money. I hit like 100 doors, like, and my conversion rate was like 70%. So I was like,
I wasn't tracking this shit,
bro,
lady.
no, I was
taking
stacking money, bro. Like,
what?
No, it was a copious amount of money. I was like, I want to say I made like money, like $4,500 or something stupid in like 4 hours, just like hitting doors. Cause I put together a raffle that was just, honestly, shame on them for not knowing. In the raffle,
way to pass,
bro. There was like, 100%.
Shame on them.
There was like cars on the raffle and shit.
Shut up.
This is the best part of the story.
Fucking a car?
Yeah, bro. I put like cars, iPads, like crazy shit on there. I was like, look at how good the prizes are.
Oh my God, dude, that shit's ingenious.
Bro, it was iconic.
That's fucking diabolical.
Dude. Here was the worst part, though. This is how it came to an end. So I was ripping, like making money, hitting doors.
Yeah, you were.
Bro, ripping. And I was going to run it
for
back.
Like $5.
Bro, I was going to run it back. I was going to run, bro, I was selling them for $20. And then dudes were like $100 bills. We'll take 5. Yeah. Like, but so this is where I screwed up. I said that it was connected to the high school that I was going to go to the lacrosse team or some dumb shit. I come up to this lady's house and I'm like, selling her, and I had 2 of my boys with me, like, so we were walking around, doing this, and they're like, this is crazy. I'm a 14-year-old kid, I'm like selling that shit, and the lady's like, so wait, this is connected to the lacrosse team? And she's like, honey, come here, and it's one of the coaches.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh fuck.
You didn't think that one through.
I didn't think that one through.
All right. Let's do this shit.
Let's party, brother.
Nice, man. Well, thanks a lot for coming, man. A special guest, bro.
Hey,
nice,
guest, Touchy.
Hell yeah, man. So, man, good to have you for sure, man.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah, I just want to have you on. I mean, this is the first time I've ever really gotten to know you. Mm-hmm. We just barely met.
True.
But you definitely got that fucking Ibiza DJ vibe, bro.
Thank you, boy.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
And just saw that, by your handle, you might be into crypto.
Yeah.
So a lot of things we might be, on the same wavelength on.
No question, bro. Yeah, I'm excited to get into all of it, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
Just take it away, guide me through this thing, and I'll do what I can for you.
So, yeah, I mean, even myself included, just, tell me a little bit about your story.
Yeah, bro. So, professionally, going back, through my story, I guess it's, my whole life was basketball. My whole life was sports. Come from a basketball family. My dad was a coach. And so that was a pretty cool scene to grow up in, as far as just being around some of the best collegiate athletes in the world and being around really good people, honestly. And then, so up until dropped out of school my sophomore year after playing basketball, because the minute I wanted to be done with basketball, I was done with school. And then, so I was up in Eugene. And then, a lot of people kind of asked me how I got into the media space. And I was basically just started by representing people's portfolios on in this social scene, as far as running Instagram, stuff like that, pretty basic stuff. I was doing it for myself for a company that I own called Dimension 6, and that was an apparel company. And so I just kind of realized that I was pretty good at it, and then started kind of managing some different portfolios, kind of working on people's digital footprint, and then scaled up the last 6 years into a lot more high ticket stuff and doing programs, stuff like that. We don't do any digital representation anymore. We do project based stuff with people, which is great, and I love that. But yeah, man, so it's just been a journey of growing and learning and trying to become who I'm trying to become, and it's been great, man. I love it. I've been traveling a lot, and the last 4 years has been a lot of just in and out, in Boise, Spokane, Miami, Arizona a lot, but it's been great, man. Just building.
That's
you know how it
badass,
goes.
man. How old are you?
26.
26.
Yeah.
And so it sounds like you're from Oregon?
From Washington originally. Yeah, I played basketball up in Eugene, and then I was Boise. We moved to Boise when I was like 14, I think, or
Let
15.
me make sure.
Yeah, I think we moved here when I was 15, I believe. And then, yeah, man, just lived out of state for like 5 years and then came back here because my brothers play at Boise State right now. So I'm trying to just be, as active and relevant as I can in their life right now while we have this time and opportunity to be together. So, yeah, it's been nice. Honestly, it's been really fun. I like Boise more than anywhere else in the country, that's for sure.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I love Boise, bro.
And you're the oldest?
I'm the oldest, yeah.
Really? So little brothers are playing basketball. Mom and dad are here too?
Yep, mom and dad are here. So it's actually pretty cool because my brothers both play for my dad. I'm kind of the black sheep of the family, to say the least.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my brother plays for my dad, Max. And it's cool, man. I mean, it's a big family deal right now. I want to try to be as around as much as I can for that. And he's doing great, which is awesome. But yeah, man, it's just everyone but me is pretty much all basketball.
Wow, yeah.
And my mom, she's very spiritually oriented. She's like a life coach. So that's, I always tell people, I think that's where I get like my communication acumen and like my desire to be in this world and be in the, more the spiritual world. Comes from her. To say
Oh,
the
really?
least. Oh, yeah. No question. She's very, very spiritual.
So is your dad coach for BSU?
Yeah, he's the head basketball coach there.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's sick, man.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a good vibe, man. I mean, it's fun. I get it. I mean, it's dope, but then, like, I have conversations with my boys, and I'm like, I kind of get the shit end of the stick with that whole deal, but it's cool for my brothers, and it's cool for everybody else. I mean, but for me, it's like, everybody kind of has this connotation like being a head coach's kid or whatever when it's like not what people think it was. And honestly, like coaching is just like one of the worst careers. I would never want to do it. Like, especially on that level. I always tell people, I'm like, listen, would you leave your financial security up to 18 and 19-year-olds, first of all? No. I would never want that, for one. For two, and my dad is like, he comes from like 6 kids, 6 brothers and sisters, like big family. He's the kind of guy that's like, go get it on your own. Like, you got to go earn it yourself, buy everything yourself. And my mom always told me, it was like, one of the best parenting advice she ever gave me was like, every kid needs something different. And so for me, it was like, she always told me, she was like, we saw like the entrepreneurialism in you early on, and we wanted you to like if we would have given you anything, you wouldn't have went out and got all the things you got. And so, growing up, I was like, oh, I want this like electric scooter. Let me go hustle and, mow 30 yards and sell stuff and do crazy shit and like get as much money as I can just to go buy this kind of stuff. So, I mean, it's just been a wild ride, honestly. It's cool though. I mean, being a coach's kid is interesting, to say the least. I mean, I grew up around, so he was at Gonzaga before he was here. And so my first 15 years of my life, so Mark, the Gonzaga coach, is my godfather. So we're super close with them. And shit, the first 15 years of my life was just all basketball, older dudes, tats. It's funny to look back and like realize that was my whole life, So
yeah, damn.
Yeah, it's been wild, but I would not advise getting into the coaching world. Like, that's the worst.
A lot of pressure.
To be in. Yeah, it's a lot of pressure. Financially, it's not a good move. Like, up until, I guess I have a kind of a warped sense of what like financial success is, because I kind of want to be in a totally different bracket. But like, shit, like look at my pops' situation. Like, he wasn't even making good money until he came here, right? His whole grind, his 35-year grind, he just ate shit the whole time. It's like you're working as a GA and then you're climbing the ranks in these programs, and he was up at U of O, and then he was at like, all these different places where he's just continuously growing and growing and growing. Even when he was at Gonzaga for 14 years, like, you're not making that much money, you know what I'm saying? And now you're at Boise State, and I think people get this all fucked up. They're like, oh, your dad's like rich or something or whatever. First of all, it's not like that. Like, they're very like financially smart and like they take care of their money, but like, he's the second highest tax person in the state, behind the football coach. And then at the end of the day, it's like, you're not making that much money. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you're a coach of a big 5 school or something like that. Like, so it's an interesting deal. But either way, the money was always kind of irrelevant to me, because we had all the things that I actually value, like, parents that care about us and want to spend time with us and do fun things. And, our family was never about like, hey, we'll give you this or any of that shit. So, I think that's been pretty cool to kind of like have to kind of come up and build everything on your own and figure all that out. And I think that was like probably one of the most valuable things I got from, especially them. But I mean, my mom is like, she is a certified life coach. Like that's why she's been my therapist forever, or
Nice.
I'd be a disaster.
Yeah.
Literally.
So do you think like growing up and your dad being a coach, like he taught you like good work ethic?
Oh yeah, bro.
Yeah.
100%. And he is one of the most like morally driven people I've ever been around, I think. And like he's loyal to a fault. I get on him all the time about it actually, because like he'll like, I mean, yeah, it's just not good. But at the end of the day, like he's very value driven, and all that stuff comes from the sports world, I think, of just like discipline. And I mean, even now I've been out of the basketball game for 6 years, but I still take my fitness super serious, and I just have those kind of, routines and habits and stuff that I built. And so at the end of the day, I mean, it's just, yeah, it all kind of comes rooted from sports, but shit, everyone but me is still super active in the sports world,
Yeah. Wow, man. So I don't want to get too much, but what about you, Big Dom?
Yeah,
Come on. What about you, Hutch?
Shit. Well.
Where are you
I
from?
don't even know. So I'm originally from California. I was born in Riverside. Grew up in Montana, though. Whitefish. Graduated there. Played football, basketball, track, did boxing, like all that kind of fun stuff. I was kind of the same way. Sports kept me in school. Once sports were over, I was done. Mm-hmm. After that, I went into the Army. I was a Chinook helicopter mechanic. After that, got out. I became a chef at the Whitefish Lake Lodge in Whitefish, and did that for 6 years. Started in the dish pit, worked my way up to a sous chef, and then after that, everybody that I worked with, they started pushing me into tattooing because they all saw my artwork, and then basically just kind of like took me off the schedule day by day, and I was down to like 1 day a week, and they're like, all right, it's time for you to go. It's like, cool. And jumped into tattooing and fell in love with it. It was kind of like I always wanted to share art with the world because it comes naturally and easy to me, and like the look on people's faces when I give art, like that's what does it for me. I've done so many tattoos that are meaningful for people, and like I've had women cry, dudes cry, like just because they are so thrilled and happy that I portrayed what they were wanting in the way that they wanted it. So that's what keeps me going as a tattoo artist, is like I get to change someone's life permanently. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of memorial stuff that I do, and so yeah, it's been a journey, that's for sure. When I started out, I was like 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, just going at it, and grew my clientele pretty quick. And the shop that I started in, I was there for about 6 months, but this guy that I was training under was just kind of like the epitome of a degenerate. And dude ended up going to prison, and so I opened up a shop in Whitefish in my first 6 months of tattooing, which not the greatest idea, but we all needed somewhere to go. So opened up this shop in Whitefish and had that for about a year, but I was still trying to be a better tattoo artist and teach myself how to tattoo correctly and stuff like that. So I ended up shutting that shop down after like a year and a half, and went and worked at a different shop, learned for about 2 years. And then I went and opened my own shop again, just like a little private studio kind of thing. And I had that for about 3 years. And then I decided it was time to spread my wings and go, try something new, somewhere different, and meet new people and create new artwork. And so I decided to go to Spokane. I didn't really like Spokane all that much. And then I ended up meeting Brock through tattooing him in Spokane. And then we came down here to tattoo for a few days, and then we got on the topic of business and opportunities and such, and here I am a month and a half later, and it's going pretty good so far.
Nice.
I'm excited. Yeah,
that's killer, man.
Yeah.
That kind of leads me to like the next thing I kind of wanted to dive in, because you brought up your mom. And like I'm very like spiritual, and I'm really into some weird ass shit.
Me too. I don't find it weird at all.
Not at all.
Yeah.
But so like obviously your tattoos when I see them, they have a lot of esoteric meaning, a lot of
100%.
spiritual meaning.
Yep.
Tell me more about that with yourself.
Well, first tell them what our first little session looked like. Our first leg session, we went, what did we do, 42 hours in 3 days.
Yeah, bro.
And yeah, we went crazy.
One day we started at 11
Yeah.
a.m. and ended at 5:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Yeah,
day
so
was rough.
yeah.
For both of you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Both just sweating
out
your
of
guts
pocket.
out.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
You know how brutal that is. Like 16 hours on the back of the leg. Oh my god. That was hell. But yeah, man. So all my tat work, I'm a big believer in. So our brand is called Forever Inked, and I mean, I think it's just what I really want the brand to represent is like being. I mean, you're forever inked. It's like I think we all can just embody that brand, and I think at the end of the day, I just think tattoos should be one of the wisest things. She's super spiritual too. She's actually does. I'm gonna connect you because her. Dude, one of the readings she did for me the other day was ridiculous. Like, I was shook.
Reading?
But she does she connects with your higher self and does you basically do a meditative practice with her, and then she connects to your energy and tells you, for people that don't know this kind of stuff, that sounds crazy, but she connects with your higher self. She connects with your spirit guides, and people like that. And so her deal was incredible. And one of the best things she said to me, because one of the questions I had for her was about tattoos, if it's bad for the soul basically, and if it's not in an alignment with what I value. And she said, oh no, not at all. She said tattoos put in with intention are the best way to reflect yourself to yourself. And I was like, wow, that is beautiful. Because so for me, to answer your question, all my arm is about my power balance stuff, because coming up I used to be kind of a crazy fighter, and I would choose this side of things more. My thing was people would always want to test me or start shit or get into things with me, and I could fight. I'd been fighting, and then I was, I came from that. So it was okay, you want to fuck around and find out, you can find out. And so my whole sleeve is about, this says peace is power. It's consciously choosing the two sides, and making a decision, and obviously my Buddha and all that stuff. So my arm is really about that, my power balance work. My leg is all my deep spiritual work. That's more about what I'm grounded in. I mean, literally it says it's crazy. We'll have to do a little B-roll or something for it to show you guys, but Hutch murdered my leg. It's beautiful, and I've never seen reactions like my leg gets. We get stopped everywhere we go. It's actually ridiculous. It was kind of not very well thought out, because now I have to talk to everybody about the same shit everywhere we go. Literally everywhere we go.
Every time we walk in the gym.
Yeah, it's literally whoa, all crazy. But I mean, you just don't see very many sleeves like this. I mean, fuck, we're going on 230 hours or something on my leg. Yeah, so it's just ridiculous how much time we've put into it. But I think that's what it should be about, really. It's you're going to have it for life. I literally just posted that on a thread the other day. I'm if you were going to have anything for life, you'd think you'd be intentional about it. You know what I mean? And it's all fun and games to get little tats or whatever and do that kind of shit. That's great. But it's if you really want stuff to represent who you are, I think it's pretty important to actually structure it out. So yeah, man, I mean, it's just really I'll have to show you, bro, but it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's just all just different representations of the way I fundamentally see the world, and the way I, want to ground myself and who I'm trying to become, and all those different things. And so, yeah, I mean, we were just actually talking about it today. I'll be pretty blasted. We're going to finish my back, do my chest. This is going to be all my Mother Gaia stuff. So I got my back and my arm is the power balance in about God and creation and that side of the world. And then, the way I see it is you have that, you have God and the creator, and then you have Mother Gaia and the earth. And, in my opinion, we're in heaven right now, this is heaven. And so that's basically where all my work is rooted, in
Damn.
that stuff. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fucking
deep.
out of this world. But even more so is I have those same desires. Mm-hmm. I want to get tatted up just like that with all the same type of shit.
That.
So
I know
I'm
that.
big on family.
Yes.
I'm big. I mean, I teach a 12-week course. It's all about, this is a video game.
Yeah.
So when you say heaven, I believe it's heaven or hell.
You're
whatever you want to make it.
right.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Right.
But I want to embody these ideas that I've learned over the last too damn long,
Yeah, that's so real.
All my travels doing psychedelics. I went to Peru in 2008 and made ayahuasca with a shaman,
fuck,
and
dude.
hung out with him for weeks
That's
in
epic.
the jungle. Yeah, so
Bro.
I've been collecting all this energy and ideas and stuff like that I want to embody literally on my body, you know.
That's real. That's
like
what
a
I
map.
want to. Me too, bro.
Right.
That's exactly what I want. That's what I want
So,
my work to be
that's
about.
powerful.
It is, bro. And I just think it's like, it's just a beautiful daily reminder to yourself. You know what I mean? And I mean, it's like, for me, I want it to like look a certain type of way and be reflective of the way I want to present myself, because I think like tattoos get this kind of like bad connotation when they're, I think, one of the most beautiful ways to like represent who you are.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like I was just telling one of my friends, I'm like, my whole life was about like being judged or people thinking like they know who I am, or because, you know, obviously coming from where I came from, like it was always, we were always on this pedestal of being watched and shit. Like, especially me, mine was just out of control. Like, you know, and like I'd get in a fight in high school and something would happen and it's like front page of the paper and, you know, just crazy shit like that. Like, yeah. So that, I mean, coming from that, I just feel like my tattoos are a really cool way for me to be able to show people that there's like way more depth than they, you know, ever thought maybe.
Totally.
But yeah, bro, I think you should definitely do that because
yeah.
it's probably my favorite thing. I mean, there's
It's now
your guy.
happening.
There's
Yeah,
your guy.
so, yeah,
The
it's
universe
all-
always working for you.
For sure. But growing up, did you like, you know, you're saying your mom was real spiritual. Did you guys grow up religious, or was she always spiritual?
She's grown a lot into the spiritual components of her life. Like, I think over the last 5 years, she's really gotten deep in it. She was a counselor and stuff. So she's always been able to like communicate and do all the things like that, you know, at the highest level. But we kind of were like Christian early on, where we'd go to church a little bit, but like fundamentally, none of us really felt like we should be there. I think like it was more of just like a social thing that we did because like our, you know, my godparents would go and everyone else would be there, you know? So it was like, you know, we go to church, but I think we grew out of that pretty quick. And like all of us, I'd say definitely in my family, but me and my mom more so than anything are extremely spiritual and grounded in that side of our world. But you know, my dad and my brothers are just kind of more, you know, here. Yeah. I wouldn't say like religious or anything like that. Like, I think we all believe in a creator and a God. And at the end of the day, like my whole thing on religion, bro, is just that it's so divisive. Like, I just never wanted to be associated to any religion because at the end of the day, it's just about division. Like, sure. I always tell my friends, I'm like, listen, like every religion is about the same fundamental things. If you want to make your life about love and about caring about people and about just being a good person, boom. Just choose that.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you choose that, you're in alignment with every religion, for one. And for two, I always say that. I'm like, okay, and then if I die tomorrow, I'm not wrong. You know what I'm saying? I didn't choose the wrong path because there is no path. It's just like I'm in alignment with what actually the real values are. The only reason these people join the church or pay the church or do any of this stuff is for all these other social reasons.
Sure.
And at the end of the day, it's great. Like if the church is what allows you to go get connected to the creator and get connected to the universe, so be it.
Totally.
All power to you. But at the end of the day, that just is not really the world I want to live in. I don't want to be like put in this box of, you know, being with all these people that see the world a certain type of way and think that other people are bad for not seeing it that way. Yeah. And that just to me is like, you know, where the foundation of it all comes from at the end of the day, bro.
Yeah, I mean, to add to that point, like in 2006 when I started, or mushrooms like found me. Yeah. Like I had a wild trip, and one of the questions that was posed to me was, well, what if you were God? Oof. How would you act? How would you live your life if you were God? Yeah. And so I've been living like that's you're deep, saying is bro. That hey, if I'm God in this reality, right. How would I treat other people and how would I live my life? And like you're saying, if I'm in alignment with these principles and these values, that no matter what happens when I die, it'll be like, good job, dude.
You're right.
Fucking exactly. Good job, big guy. Come on in. The party's fucking just getting started now.
Bro, you're so right. That's literally how I look at it too. Exactly like that. And at the end of the day, like I just the true belief I have about this world we live in is like, and it's literally spot on with what you're saying, is just that like this is our opportunity to go through different adventures, experiences, different trials, tribulations, things to like allow our soul to progress and become who we're trying to become. And like, you know, it's basically those choices. And I need to get better at it because I'm so aware of some of these things and I still choose the wrong shit. Totally. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's part of our journey is like,
I like to party.
That exactly. Yeah. We like to party, but yeah, no, I mean, and like to that point though, is like, I think that's what this is about us living and experiencing things. And like I feel bad for these motherfuckers that choose the wrong path of just like a life of no fulfillment, no love, no happiness, no experiences, no adventure, no mistakes. Like, fuck, it'd be boring as fuck to be perfect.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, that would suck.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, bro, I just think it's like we're going through all these things and learning these lessons, and it's our, you know, our experiences that allow our soul to progress and grow. And then ultimately, I mean, the way I believe it is just we're in this, you know, cycle of souls learning, growing, you know, coming into this earth. Like, me and my mom talk about this a lot, is like, you know, our souls are choosing these experiences, and we're choosing who to come into them with, and we're choosing who to be with, you know, and grow with. And so I think it's pretty deep when you look at it that way, because I think pairing that and these fundamentals that we're talking about now, pairing that with, if you can just get the simple mindset of like I try to solve all my people's problems by just getting them to understand one thing. I'm like, if you looked at everything in your life like it was happening for you and not against you, I don't give a fuck how bad it was. And I got some deep shit to support that. Like one of my friends, I can't really talk about like all this stuff connected to it because it's personal to her, but I connected her to that girl I was telling you about, and it was like, it got me emotional, bro, when she told me, because she hadn't even told me the depth of what she had been through and stuff like that. All I can really tell you is that she went through something extremely traumatic. And in the moment, it probably felt like literal hell on earth. But when she connected to the girl I'm telling you about, she told her, without knowing anything about it, she told her about that experience and about what her higher self told her, why she went through that. And it was the most beautiful thing I've ever heard in my whole life. Like, I'm just telling you, level 10 trauma, level 10 traumatic. But the universe did it to put her in a position that she would not have been in.
Dang.
And it literally saved her whole life. It changed everything. So it's like, that's just a great example to me of like, you just literally never know what the fuck is actually happening for what reason. And at the end of the day, it's like what I'm saying. Like, if you look at it like everything's happening for you, it'll literally change everything about the way you see the world. Because you're like, oh, fuck, that sucks. But like, maybe it was happening for this reason. Yeah. You know, and all of a sudden that optimism starts to fuel everything. You just start seeing the world completely different. You're like, everything becomes an opportunity. Everything's like, you know, it's just beautiful. And I mean, my deal is I would much rather live in a world of like opportunity and freedom and fun and, you know, learning all these different things rather than like live in suffering. You hit the nail on the head. You're either choosing heaven or you're choosing hell, and you're literally in it right now. Right. You know what I mean? Like, it's active. We're in it.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so I want to ask you too, because obviously, you know, if you guys attract each other and the three of us are, you know, hanging out right now, like, what was your experience growing up with religion or spirituality or anything like that?
Kind of the same. I didn't grow up in a household that was like super religious. We definitely went to church a couple times. But for me, I just never really felt comfortable in there. I always felt like judged or looked at, you know, in a negative manner. So I just never like really got into the whole religion side, but I did get to like the spiritual side of everything that we've been talking about and stuff like that. You know, I definitely experimented with a lot of mushrooms. And what I used to do back in Montana, we'd go on hikes and we'd get to the peaks and we'd like trip up there and like I'd meditate and stuff like that and like really get grounded to the earth. And like when you come out of like that environment and you're coming down, like you just feel so connected to everything and like everything is just so beautiful and like you feel empowered in those moments, you know. But I mean, it's kind of weird to talk about. I haven't talked about it in a long time. You know, spiritually, like I think understanding yourself and understanding like your surroundings and everything, like it's a matter of perspective. So like if everything, like you guys kind of like hit the nail on the head, so it's hard for me to like really say shit because you already said everything. But you know, like going back to like you can live in hell or you can live in heaven, and like things that are traumatic and the experiences you have, like everything does kind of like lead you up to like certain points in your life. Everything that I've gone through, everything I've experienced has led me to, it has helped me face certain challenges like later on in life with a different mindset, with a better perspective. I ended up going to counseling for like 3 years, every single week, working on myself, working on building relationships and how to keep those relationships, because I didn't have like a very good like family household. So I always like disconnected from everybody. And so like I had to really like dig deep and face a lot of the things that I had gone through. But now that I look back at those things, it led me, or like it shaped me and made me this person to be able to deal with the shit that I go through every single day. You know, now I can actually like keep relationships. I'm actually involved in relationships. I can find, instead of like thinking about the past or the future, I can actually be present in the moment, which was like a huge thing for me because I was always just never really there. So I was always like finding myself, you know, elsewhere, but still in that same spot. And, you know, it took a lot of work, but I'm finally at that point where I can like appreciate the moment that I'm in and take and grasp everything I can from it. And I think that's helped a lot with, you know, my relationship with my mom, my friends, girlfriends, stuff like that. So, yeah.
Fuck yeah, bro. Good fucking work, man.
Love that.
So, you need to move that around?
No, you're good.
You were talking, you know, dropped out of high school.
No,
I dropped
college.
College.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. I mean, I dropped out of high school.
Oh, really?
As soon as I got my driver's license, I was like, I'm done with this fucking place. Yeah, and I was a mechanic. So my dad managed a mechanic shop. I was in a gang. Like my school was on national TV because one of my friends murdered some people just cruising state. Damn. So I was getting in a lot of trouble. And my dad's like, I was always a mechanic. Always, you know, I had 3-wheelers, motorcycles, go-karts. So I was always tinkering with those. He's like, hey, man, like you need some direction. Right. You're just a degenerate. Come work full time. And so, you know, to add to both of your guys' points, like I grew up in Salt Lake. So I grew up in a very black and white religious culture.
Yeah, no kidding.
But my parents were party animals. So my parents were partying every fucking day. So we didn't go to church. Like, even though the culture surrounded me, like I was disconnected from it until I was about 17. My parents got really deep into Mormonism and religion and stuff like that. Yeah. And so I'd moved out. As soon as I turned 18, I bought a duplex. I moved out. I was living on my own, just partying. And then I met a chick who was LDS, and we really got, you know, along. So I was like, oh, let me try this stuff out. So I went to the top. I went through the temple. I wore the garments, all that stuff. I almost went on a mission, but they said, you got to sell your house. And I said, oh, why doesn't Jesus just pay my house payment? You know? You guys got enough money to pay my house payment?
No kidding. You guys are hiding a few billion.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're like, nah, you got to sell the house. I'm like, nah, I ain't going on a mission. No. But anyways, like, you know, so that culture, I was around it. Then I got into it. And I learned and understood, you know, the doctrine behind it, the dogma behind it. Yeah. And it left me just feeling really kind of empty until I found, again, the mushrooms. But what I wanted to talk about was, you know, dropping out of high school. You know, it sounded like basketball being your life, probably playing basketball until college. You know, how did, you know, being done with that sport and being done with that life, how did it affect your relationship with your parents, your dad especially?
It was pretty good, honestly. He was never the kind of parent to push you into anything. Nice. You know, neither of them were really. Like, it was like we kind of choose, you know, what path we're on. I wish I would have played football. Like, I had to stop because of concussions. Like, but I was way better at football. And then, yeah, man, I mean, the only thing I think that was like probably interesting for my parents is when I called them, you know, because I was playing basketball. And then literally it was crazy, actually. After one of our games, some just crazy shit happened. Like our coach didn't really want to be there anymore. So our coach was Luke Jackson. He was like the 6th pick in the draft, played with like LeBron and shit. And so, I mean, his recruiting pitch to us was like, you don't got to go to school. We're going to take care of you. And you're basically gods at this school because our basketball program's like 4th in the nation. Mm-hmm. And so we were like, hell yeah. So we had like 8 or 7 like Division I transfers my freshman year. We were ridiculous. Like, I think we had 4 top 25 plays that year, just crazy shit. But anyway, he thought he was going to get another job, I think, after our freshman year. And so when he didn't, he was not thrilled. So my sophomore year was just chaotic and just crazy. We had we had some dogs, like every day, fist fights, like players fighting coaches, like crazy shit. And then one of the last days I was there, I think we lost maybe to this team, and, you know, like 2 hours away or whatever. And we had this 6'11" dude, like 330 pounds, and he was I love him. He's one of the nicest, like spiritual, loving big bears, but he literally is like loose in the head.
And he's a dog when he turns it on.
Bro, like I'm talking about psychotic when he loses it. Like, so anyway, long story short, man's like loses his mind after the game, screaming in the locker room, yelling at our coaches, calling our coach a slave owner. And so I'm the one who has to step up and say something to him, and he loses his shit on me. So then we start getting into it. It's this whole big crazy thing. He's like trying to get me. He's literally waiting for me when we drive 2 hours back to Eugene, and he's like still waiting for me. And then it was actually crazy because that night, me and him have talked since then, and he like, felt super bad, I think. But I was ready to be done anyway. But so we got back. It's like 11:30 at night. I go lift, and then when I'm lifting, I come back out of the gym, and he was waiting for me.
What?
Yeah, at like 1 a.m, like waiting for me out there. So, and this is like,
Dahmer.
This is a dude that could kill me. Like
Yeah.
he would literally eat me. He's huge. And so that was crazy. So I had to deal with that head on. And then 2 days later, I was just like, listen, I'm out. Like, this is just a liability at this point. Like, our team doesn't even like each other. We're fucking not close. We're, nobody's like, I don't even go to school. They sent me my attendance report. I went to like 22% of my classes or some shit. So I was like, whatever, I'm out. And then I just dipped and I actually went to Salt Lake.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. Went to Salt Lake for a while. Had a girl a long-term relationship that I had been with that we kind of had got back together for the last few months before that. Went and was with her and then traveled around and lived in San Diego for a while. And yeah, man, it was just crazy. But yeah, no, it was never bad. Like my parents knew I had been like making money and stuff since I was pretty young. Like I would do crazy shit, bro. Like when I was like 14, this is probably pretty fucking frowned upon. So I'm sorry if anybody hears this that was affected by this. But I like made like a fake, like when I was like 14, like I'd be like, okay, I need like $2,000. Like I wanted to buy a go-kart, I think. And like I wanted to like race in the thing, and I ended up just like fucking the whole thing up in the river or something stupid. But I was like 14 or maybe a little older, like 14 or 15, and I was like, yeah, I need to buy one of these. So I made like a fake raffle and like
No
way. Went like
that's fraud,
bro. Straight up. Went like door to door. I think honestly, if anybody sees this, they'll be like, all right, that's pretty player. Like that's like some real young entrepreneurial shit. Like I didn't know though. I was like, whatever, I don't give a fuck. I was like, I'll give away a prize. I'll fucking buy a prize to give away or something. But no, I did not. And I just went door to door, bro. Hard selling motherfuckers. And they'd be like, yeah, I'll take like 4 tickets. Like I'll take like, so then I ended up like stacking a bag. Oh my God. When my mom found out, she was so pissed off. She was like, you're going back and you're giving everybody their money back. I was like, I have no idea who gave me money. I hit like 100 doors, like, and my conversion rate was like 70%. So I was like,
I wasn't tracking this shit,
bro,
lady.
no, I was
taking the money.
stacking money, bro. Like,
What?
no, it was a copious amount of money. I was like, I want to say I made like money, like $4,500 or something stupid in like 4 hours, just like hitting doors. Cause I put together a raffle that was just, honestly, shame on them for not knowing. In the raffle,
way to pass,
bro. There was like,
dude.
100%.
Shame on
there was
them.
there was like cars on the raffle and shit.
Shut up.
This is the best part of the story.
Fucking a car?
Yeah, bro. I put like cars, iPads, like crazy shit on there. I was like, look at how good the prizes are.
Oh my God, dude, that shit's
Bro.
ingenious.
Bro, it was iconic.
That's
for a
fucking
young dude.
diabolical.
Here was the worst part, though. This is how it came to an end. So I was ripping, like making money, hitting
Fuck
doors.
yeah, you were.
Bro, ripping. And I was going to run it
For like
back.
$5, you
Bro,
could
I was
going to
run it back. I was gonna run, bro. I was selling them for $20, and then dudes were like $100 bills. We'll take 5, yeah. Like, but so this is where I screwed up. I said that it was connected to the high school that I was gonna go to the lacrosse team or some dumb shit. I come up to this lady's house and I'm like, selling her, and I had 2 of my boys with me, like, so we were walking around, doing this, and they were like, this is crazy. I'm a 14-year-old kid. I'm like selling that shit. And the lady's like, so wait, this is connected to the lacrosse team? And she's like, honey, come here. And it's one of the coaches.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck.
You didn't think that one through.
I didn't think that one through.
You didn't need the credibility.
No,
you
I
already
didn't.
had the.
Well, maybe, because they were like, what, this is just some made-up raffle connected to nothing?
Oh, okay.
But,
so you were getting the objection.
Oh, yeah. No,
okay.
I was getting the objection.
Dude.
Bro, I learned my sales skills, though.
That's some Jordan Belfort shit,
bro,
dude.
That's one of my boys, actually.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, JV, he's actually dope. But I never want to be on his type of time. So hopefully I learned the lesson. Actually, he's one of the craziest group of conversations I ever had was at his house with 2 of his boys that are his boys now. They're like the COO and the CFO of his companies. those three together have the three biggest indictment cases or something, whatever it is, in history, like those three. And one of the guys had he was telling us this story at dinner, and there was only 8 of us there, so it was the craziest stories you've ever heard. And Jordan's got the craziest stories ever, and he loves to tell stories, so it's pretty funny actually. But his boy, I guess, was 18 years old or some shit, and ran the biggest opioid operation in the country. And he was shipping and doing all this shit. And he said that one day, he was telling us a story. I hope I can retell his story. He's yeah, I was sitting there and you would have thought I was El Chapo. The whole Fed group rolled in, SWAT team, boom, everything, locked him down, basically gave him an option. You're either going to do this or you're going to disappear. And and it was crazy. He was just, but that was pretty cool. I can't really remember how we got on that topic of conversation, but yeah, they're wild boys. Good lesson for me. I never want to be those guys.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, springboarding into that is what got you into marketing and social media and your business now.
So I was telling you a little bit about it earlier, and this is a good 2 cents for people that are watching. Figure out first of all, a lot of high level guys talk about if you want to get into the game at a real level, you got to figure out how to provide value to really high level people. And so honestly, the big hurdle or the big jump I took was I took a videography unit, my team out to LA, and we filmed, this was 6 years ago maybe, we filmed with Matt Morgan, who's now one of my best friends. And I was young, bro. I was 20 years old. And this was actually epic, honestly. We got the podcast done, got pretty lit. After the podcast, we were just smoking down and shit, and he was going to go to Bulzarian's party that night. So I ended up just getting tied into a bunch of high-level people from that and ended up being boys with those guys. And at that point, my media company was not structured to be that valuable. It was we were doing pieces of content and podcasts and stuff like that, but we weren't structured to be a really valuable entity to anybody in the media game. And so I think as it kind of progressed, I started to really learn, I knew how to execute in the digital space. I could run your Instagram and shit. We could do all that. And I think a lot of people still do that kind of stuff, which is fine. But it's we transitioned from these clients where you're taking a $1,500, $2,500 a month client, right? And your burn rate on it's $1,500, $2,000 to just execute on the contract. And then you're month over month having to recycle that. It's terrible. Totally. Your churn is just awful. So it's not a good industry to be in if you're in that world. But now, now my company, we're doing high ticket stuff where it's a $70,000, $80,000 program. And then, we can execute on it in 2 weeks and stuff. So it's just a little bit of a different model. And I think that there's another valuable piece of 2 cents for somebody is I think a lot of us, Matt Boucher told me this, and it's really valuable. I think when you're looking at everything, you got to evaluate where your ceiling is, what the real opportunity is. And at the end of the day, I could have scaled the shit out of my media company at our original structure, but it would have been awful. To be representing, even if you're representing 50 people, you know what I'm saying, and you're doing $250,000 a month, at the end of the day, the logistical operational side of that is awful. It's so brutal. And so now I'm just in a completely different model. And I think the takeaway from that is you get into these different industries, you get into these different businesses, you start a business, you're in one, whatever it is, one vertical. Don't be afraid to fucking pivot. You know what I mean? Figure out what the actual opportunity looks like and reposition yourself to make a better opportunity come to life. If I would have stayed in my other shit, I wouldn't have built into what it is right now where, I can operate with 7 people full time and we can, if I wanted to crank it right now, we could be doing disgusting numbers, and it's just because our margins are great, Right. So it's I think that's pretty important. But yeah, so that's kind of how I got into it. And then we were just doing, like I said, we just progressed it's progressed a lot lately because I think I'm just growing a lot right now as far as my real understanding of the game. And at the end of the day, the last 3 years has been us specializing in influencer marketing and structuring your digital footprint and actually positioning paid ads and stuff like that. And so, and now I've transitioned a lot into just being a really high level executioner, going to a high ticket guy and being okay, look, this is how we're going to position your digital assets. This is how we're going to put you in get your brand dialed in. We're going to use these influencers and then we're going to create this product for you. So that's really what we do now in my media entity is we build digital programs for people and basically we just help you monetize your knowledge. So somebody like you, we take you, we're okay, we're going to build you out a a full program that you can deliver, you know, because you need like this is the fastest growing industry in the country, you know, coaching and mentoring and programs, literally the fastest growing. And so it's like we're kind of on the front end of something pretty powerful, I think. And honestly, we got a system that's pretty dope right now where we like, these are valuable products. You know, we sit down with you, we figure out, okay, what do you want your program to look like? We build out the whole thing for you. We deliver it to you. You go through the editing process, we adjust it, and boom, all of a sudden you got a full program you can deliver any client. And then the crazy part is like, okay, cool. You pay us 80 grand, you pay us whatever your package looks like. Like we got some pretty big ones, and then you can sell it infinitely. So you're charging people $1,500, $2,500. Like I got dudes doing $250,000 a month right now on programs so that we built them. And now they're circling back to do the next thing with us. So it's like, I think the opportunity there is pretty big, but it's just a cool market to be in because it's kind of a one-time deliverable, and we can, we got some upsells and some downsells from it. But at the end of the day, like it's valuable for everybody because these programs are like helpful. And I think I'll put you on the secret sauce. The secret sauce for us, for me over the next 5 years is that we own all the data. So all of our clients, we're running all their shit. And all these people are coming in and all this traffic is being generated, but we own all the data to all these programs, to all these people. So, I mean, I've got a list of fucking probably like 60, 70,000, like just entrepreneurs, like their targeted lists, which is, fucking if you know the data game, I mean, it's more valuable than oil.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that's in your contract?
Yeah, those are in our contracts. And then, they have the rights to like be able to use it too if they want to use the data, but shit, legally we own it all. So, which is pretty cool. And so that's the bigger play really for us is like structuring everything to be in alignment with that, building these audiences, helping people actually structure online and generate an audience and then be able to monetize the audience really.
What do you think is the biggest mistake people are making in social media and all this right now?
I'd say the biggest mistake people make on a personal brand level is not understanding the true value of the platform, for one. Like, not really understanding the power it gives you to connect with people. Like, I think you're starting to see some of my stuff where, like, I just use my Instagram like I'm talking to my friends. Yeah. Like, and fuck, there's a lot of people watching that shit, but at the end of the day, it's like, that's what it should be used for. It's a one-on-one connection. Like, get out of the habit of like, what's going on, guys? Or, like you're talking to an audience, like you're talking at an event. Like, it's not like that. Use it like for interpersonal connection. Right. Use it to communicate the things you want to communicate. I think that the mistake people are making as far as from a business perspective is not like actually structuring your digital footprint to convert. Like, positioning it the right way, creating content that fuels the attention side of it, but
connect rather than convert.
Exactly.
And conversion comes as a result of
100%. And I think like if you can figure that out, like, because one of our biggest things in my company is like brand. Like, how do we build brand? Well, you're building equity into a relationship. That's literally it. Is like you're positioning your brand effectively. We got to go find your target audience, whatever that niche looks like for you. We got to go hyper focus on finding that. And I think that's what people don't realize about the true value of the space. Okay. You build an audience so that you can market to these people for free over and over and over again. Okay. And now they have those brand impressions consistently. Then when they go, Forbes just published again that it's like taking like 27 impressions for somebody to take action on your product or service. So when you think about that fundamentally, if you have a business and you need to go make all these impressions on people over and over and over and over and over again, just so when they make that decision, they buy with you, right? Or they use your service, or they know, oh yeah, I actually know the guy that does that. Like if people think branding, they probably know that that's what I do, and it's like, so you're going to make those impressions over and over and over and over again. And then you got to be in a position where it's a seamless conversion, where it's like, okay, now this person needs to know you're the guy. Now they need to make it needs to be as easy as possible for them to go from this and this interaction with you to actually getting in your service and doing business with you, whatever that looks like for you, whatever your sales systems look like, whatever your, your business infrastructure looks like. That needs to be a pretty easy conversion for them. It needs to be super simple at the end of the day. So I think that's probably the biggest thing, and we can dive into some of the media stuff as far as like valuable things that I've been really focused on lately. But that's probably the biggest thing for businesses is like actually having it structured to, to get that conversion.
That's killer, man. That's very valuable. Tell me a little bit about the crypto side for you. How'd you get involved in crypto?
I had a good setup at the start of crypto because
When's the start for you?
My start was like 4 years ago, probably when I first started getting kind of active in it. But then 2 years ago is when I first started rolling real money into it, because I got a pretty big bag at the start, just because in my Miami spot, I'm around a lot of big dogs.
Yeah.
Like big dogs.
Yeah.
And so what I started doing, honestly, me and Matt just talked about this.
Created a raffle.
Pretty much.
This
For crypto.
motherfucker.
Well, so this is what was valuable, bro. It's like I'm with him every day, right? Matt's one of the top G's, bro. He's like getting calls from everybody, right? Well, I'm sitting next to this motherfucker and he's getting calls from everybody that's starting a crypto account and starting a new fucking coin or starting a new, whatever, a new underlying tech platform or whatever. So I'm listening to these calls and I'm like, dude, if I just okay, they call Matt first. If they're going to call 50 more motherfuckers like him after them, if I just throw $5,000 at each of these little projects that I'm hearing about, and then all of a sudden I let all that other money get ramped into it, because that was the big kicker when this first thing was like catching up with the altcoins and all this stuff, this last little this last little run, like, bro, everybody was just, it's like somebody starts something and calls 100 of their people, and those 100 people put in money, and you see this crazy run up.
Right.
So I was playing off that early.
Damn, bro.
Yeah, bro. So I was running altcoins, I was running crazy shit, like, and a lot of our guys were starting like Protocol and all these different like platforms that are, actually going to be valuable one day when these build. Like I don't think people understand the infrastructure of the crypto world. Like this is like the introduction of the internet. Okay?
Totally.
Right? You got like all these different underlying tech platforms, and then you got different things being built on top of them that are actual companies. So you're basically in this game of like trying to find the Amazon and the Facebook and these different companies, right?
Oh yeah.
And then my investment thesis in the crypto side is you can't really go wrong with like Bitcoin, just because it's the underlying tech, right? And it's what everything's fundamentally built on. And then, really understanding the blockchain and how that works. And then for me, my investment thesis is really just connecting my money to, well, now it's going to be really hyper focused on connecting to the underlying system that's going to be connected to the new economic system and the new currency, and really just staying connected to like the layer ones, and allowing my money to sit in the layer ones, so that all these companies that are built on top of them, the layer ones, layer twos, then you're in a position where you're going to benefit from all of that, because they got to keep using it. It's like saying like, I don't even know what a great analogy for that would be, but it's like having your money in something connected to what Facebook has to use every day. Yeah. Like something like that. So basically it's like, that's kind of the way I see the crypto game. And I just think people are so money hungry in it. Like it's a wrong way to look at it. Like, yeah, you might be able to make some fucking money coming up here, because shit's about to get crazy, I think. And if you're listening to this, I would highly advise getting pretty fucking active in it right now, because this is going to be a crazy stretch. I just think that, the way I see the game, I think that everything's being artificially positioned so that the big BlackRock, all this big corporate money can come into the game, and they want a certain number for them to be able to come. I mean, you just got to think about it fundamentally. Like if they come into the game now, or if they cut it down a little bit more, it's making billions of dollars of difference to these guys, literally billions. And so if you play, I mean, for those of us like, me and you are pretty active in it. If you play this next swing right, you'll never worry about money again. Ever. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck, dude. I'm glad someone's on the same wavelength, because that's exactly my entire thesis too. Is build a foundation on those blue chip cryptos. Yes. Those the tried and true, time tested and proven cryptos to build your financial house on, and then. Like our man, JB talks about the pink sheets, the dog shit, the degenerate fucking, hey, this might be 100x, 1000x.
You're right.
Then I can take the profits from that and reinvest to gain more market share.
Spot on.
Because like you're saying, like,
how's your portfolio broken down? Like, are you like, because I'm like 80%, or like really I'm like 65% heavy, like Bitcoin, Ethereum, like those, and then I'm running like 35% of my portfolio in like the altcoins and like stuff like that. How does yours break down?
Yeah, very similar. I would say like 80% are in those blue chip coins, and then 20%.
Because if one of those hits, bro.
And I've had too many of them hit. I got in, I got in 2016, right before the ICO blow. So I got into so many fucking ICOs in 2017. Damn. I have posts on Facebook. I was telling people to get into Ethereum at $7.
Oh. That's sickening.
Dude, every day telling people, like, you guys got to fucking do this. Yeah. Like, because I started investing in gold and silver back in 2006 when I really learned how the financial system really works.
Are you rocking with that right now too? Like keeping your money in some gold and silver? Like,
100%. Yeah,
me too. That's what I'm getting back into right now.
Yeah.
Because I just think the dollar, you're incinerating your cash.
It's mathematic. It's math. Yes. It's going to go to zero.
I agree.
And when it goes to zero, it's going to be like nothing we've ever seen. It's going to be total fucking chaos.
I agree.
Where even like our crypto and gold, it won't be valuable. I think there will be a period of darkness.
I agree.
Where like it'll be survive or die.
I think you're spot on.
Mm-hmm. And then the lights will come back on.
Yep.
And when they come back on, we will be catapulted into the future.
You're 100% right with AI, with all the new tech introduction,
exactly.
with all that. Right. But I think we got to go to a crazy spot before that.
Oh yeah, because the majority of people, let's look at it like this: like in any organism, when it evolves to its next highest level, the cells of that organism that aren't evolving with the collective, they must die off. Yeah. So that's what's happening right now. I think 80% of the planet's population could fucking die in the next 10 years.
Yeah,
I'll tell you guys right now, I ain't fucking dying.
I ain't dying.
Because I'll drink a motherfucker's blood. Okay, for sure. To survive and to protect my genes and my family and my friends. Like, I'm making it no matter fucking what.
No, I feel that. Yeah.
And so, I think that what you were saying is, hey, this is, to put it even at a more like what I think non-physical and spiritual perspective is what's happening is we are building the next consciousness. The internet is like the nervous system.
Right.
The nodes are the different cells, and now like with AI, it's becoming conscious.
Yes.
First, we had to build out.
Fuck, that's deep.
The fucking baby. When a baby's born, dude, its fucking full body and skin is not built first. First, it's the fucking nervous system. These different systems are built before the baby is physical and pops out,
Right.
Same thing. We're building an artificial intelligence that is a reflection of us. So in the future, like when I think of people like Elon Musk talking about going to Mars in a fucking rocket ship, that's caveman shit.
Right.
We'll be sending our consciousness like an email.
Right.
And just teleporting into another avatar.
You're very right.
And fucking hanging out.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Avatar's way more realistic than people think.
100%.
Yeah.
And so, I think that these, to your point, and that's why I think that like what I would call the all or God, like it uses these things to entice us to keep moving forward. Mm-hmm. So money and the thought and the prospect of people, hey, I can invest in these coins to make a bunch of money. That's its way of, hey, keep fucking building this and progressing this so you can make the money and buy the Lambo or buy the house or buy the whatever the fuck you want to keep building out my vision.
Right.
And so most people will never understand the deeper the technicalities of blockchain, and that's totally cool. Yeah. I do understand those things for some weird ass reason.
Yeah.
But for me, it's like my whole business is based around, I'm just here to teach you how to get in.
Right.
Just get in and start using it. And I'm not a trader. I'm not a gambler. I mean, I'm a Jew. I can't stand gambling. And so for me, it's like, hey, build this and fucking hold on forever.
Right.
Diamond hands.
Right.
$1,000 invested into Amazon in 1997 would be worth over $14 million if you just held.
Fuck.
That's the hardest part for people.
That's a great point. That's a good one.
Just fucking hold. It doesn't take a big ton of money.
Right.
Just find those blue chips, put in, a nice investment and hold on for dear life.
Yeah, you're right.
Don't touch it. Don't get emotional about it. When it has big dips, I tell my clients, buy more.
Yep.
Yeah, just buy more. Yep. It's bringing your cost average down, which when it always reverses, you profit faster. You can take some profits if you want. But I'm big on just like, hey, very specific plans. Yep. Numbers, here's how many coins you want to have. If it hits this number, you're going to have this much, so on and so forth. Yep. So, I really appreciate, you going into depth because I'm every week telling people the same thing. Like, man, you got to get in on this. Yeah. Like, I've dedicated my whole life to this. Really? Oh, 100%. Mm-hmm.
You're spot on. I mean, it's...
Well, I think another thing is, with the whole consciousness thing, like the world we live in now with, politics, money, all these things, they are the manifestation of an old consciousness that's being replaced by a new. And I believe that we can completely render that old consciousness obsolete just by investing in the new.
Right.
You don't need to protest or fight the system or think it's ever going to change. Like, dude, these motherfuckers, the politicians, they're never going to change. They're scumbags for life.
Yeah.
So rather than expecting them to change or bitching at them, like, oh, fuck Biden or fuck Trump, dude, why don't you just live in a new world?
Yeah, true.
Stop using their fucking dollars.
Yeah.
Stop keeping money at the bank. Become your own bank.
Right.
Like, you have a choice to do something, and if we can create a chain reaction, if we can get enough people to invest in this space and to live in this space, that it will be rendered obsolete. It will just go away on its own. Because it's crumbling now, and that's why they're putting out more and more. It has to be more sensationalized. Like the stories they're telling, like to me, it's not convenient. Like this whole human trafficking narrative is really big and in the forefront because it creates fear in people. If you can keep them fearful, afraid of each other, afraid to fucking let your kids out of the house, then they're much easier to control. And their whole system's based on control. But also what's happening now is every lie they tell is backfiring on them. So their system's crumbling at an exponential rate, while our system, the Web3, the crypto, it's growing now exponentially. So now every day, every week, we have these huge fucking advancements in our area where, man, they're just fucking dying. Media's dying. No one believes the fucking news. No one believes Big Pharma. No one believes none of that shit.
Yeah, it's all getting exposed.
Yeah, it's all being exposed. And so...
it's gross.
I'm big on... Another thing is like, man, like this game that we're in, it is unfolding more perfectly than we could ever
always
understand. So I don't need to try to control anything.
Yep.
I need to learn to let go
and
just go with it.
Yeah, I think I just posted something about that, like maybe today or yesterday or something, but it's like the deepest thing. Like if you're always worried about, I can't even remember what it said, but it's like if you're always worried or stressed about like the different situations or trying to like control everything, then you're never actually living, like ever. Like,
and they got you right where they want you.
Exactly, yeah.
It's like in
You're
Lord of the Rings, the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah.
As soon as you look at that motherfucker, it's
done.
got you.
Yep.
So it wants you to think about child trafficking or think about fucking transgenders or whatever. Think about this that creates the division, like you said.
Exactly.
Because once they get you in a state of anger, resentment, shame, guilt, then they fucking got you right where they want you.
Yep, you're a pawn at that point.
Yeah, but then like we said at the top, it's if you can just come from love, hey, I'm here to love people, support people, make new relationships and connect, and like, hey, how can I add value to you, and how can we, get on the same team and build these fucking projects to change the world and get rich together, and then just. Dude, if those people want to keep playing that game, dude, do it. I don't care.
Yeah, they live in the world.
Yeah, it's gonna suck when it gets hard. 'Cause it's getting worse for those that are holding on to those ideals.
Yeah,
it's gonna get real fucking hard.
Yeah. And I just don't get that. Like, I don't get why people want to live in a world of suffering. Like, that, seeing the world that way and always focusing on shit like that, you just progressively dig deeper and deeper and deeper into this, like, world of suffering. And it's like, why would you ever want that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you kind of manifest it.
Yeah, well, no, exactly.
You do 100%.
It's exactly what you focus on.
But also, think about this, guys, is that, you mentioned it earlier, Bronk, is that we come here to learn lessons to advance spiritually.
Right.
And some of us come here and we have traumatic experiences, and in those traumatic experiences are very powerful lessons that we came here to learn.
Yes.
And a lot of people, they're not aware. They're not doing that healing work to go back into their past and to learn and overcome that karma. So they're going to keep holding on to that trauma. And their trauma is manifesting into the ideals that they're holding on to. I'm not religious at all, but, I believe in them all.
Right.
But one of the 10 Commandments is thou shalt not worship false idols.
Right.
But it's also ideals.
Right.
Don't worship these ideas that are, dude, like fucking, we did a podcast. One of the big ideals is like nationalism. Dude, when you put your fucking kids in school and I pledge allegiance to a flag, that's a blood oath to a fucking idol.
Yeah.
That's no different than Heil Hitler.
Right.
No different at all.
Literally.
So they got you. They got you in all these things. And then like now they got these fucking rainbow flags, and it's just another thing to worship.
Yeah.
But like you're saying is that, man, we came here to learn these lessons. And so those people that aren't willing, again, like that organism evolving, if you're not evolving at an individual level, with the collective consciousness that's now evolving exponentially,
you're right.
You're just going to be rendered obsolete.
You're very right. Yeah, no, it's honestly spot on, because when I think about like the division side, like that's the thing. I have zero problem with whatever you want to choose for your life. You know what I mean? If you want to be gay, straight, fucking kiss dogs, I don't give a fuck. But at the end of the day, like all this stuff about like blasting things in people's face and needing flags everywhere and needing to represent yourself in that way, like the only problem I have with it is it's all fundamentally built on being divisive.
Yes.
Like, it's not actually about promoting what you care about or promoting who you love or promoting that you're whatever. Like it's about division at this point. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, it's like, who gives a fuck? Literally. I do not care. And I think if you do care who's fucking who, you need to look the fuck in the mirror.
Exactly.
Because you got a huge issue.
Again, what ideals are you holding on to?
Right.
Like, why do you care what other people are doing in the privacy of their home?
Yeah, what does that matter to you?
Yeah.
How does that affect you?
Yeah, at all. If we all are here because we all value freedom, like if you can't have true freedom unless you give someone else their true freedom.
Right.
So yeah.
It's true. Great point.
So man, guys, I mean, good shit. Really appreciate it.
That was epic. We'll have to do that again. That was fun,
100%.
bro. Yeah, we can get into a bunch of actionable shit soon. That was awesome. I appreciate you having us, brother.
Bring it in, guys.
Yeah,
Thank you, my dog.
I'm a man of few words, but I still enjoy it.
Not good shit for sure. Glad that
we
you
love the
could come.
Touchy 2 cents.
Man.